Welcome, welcome everybody. Greg Peterson coming to you from the Urban Farm Fruit Tree Program, and I'm here with Miss Janis.
Hello, everybody. I'm Janis Norton coming to you from the Urban Farm program here in Arizona, Phoenix.
Yay, yay. And so our fruit tree program is 26 years old, and we're going to cover a little bit of the history and how it works tonight, and more specifically, what you need to know before you buy your fruit trees. And this is no matter where you live.
Yeah.
The difference is the fruit trees that we sell, that we have available, are only good for the low desert.
Yeah.
They're low desert appropriate. Yes, Janice.
So before we get too far, I
Hmm.
want to ask a really important question for anybody who's brand new to our program. Greg, who are you? And why do you know anything about fruit trees?
Oh, well, that's a surprise question, and that's perfect. So, I planted my first fruit trees in Phoenix, Arizona in 1975. I was 15 years old at the time, and we had just moved into a half-acre property near 28th Street and the Indian School. So that's like north central-ish Phoenix-ish.
Don't tell them your whole story because you got that later.
There you go. And I've been growing
You
fruit trees ever since. This fruit tree program started in 1999 when I decided I wanted to plant 500 fruit trees in the Phoenix area. And I discovered two things. First of all, there weren't nurseries that were willing to work with me to sell me trees at a discounted rate. By the way,
Yeah.
if you want a lot of trees, we'll work with you on a discounted rate. And the other thing I found, uh, and what we're covering tonight, is that you can go into most nurseries in every big box store and they will sell you a fruit tree that will never make fruit in the low desert. That is still the case today. So I started in 1999 giving fruit tree classes in my living room, and that quickly expanded in the following couple, 3 years to coffee houses and Duck and Decanter and different restaurants. Any place I could claim a space.
I've
And
seen you do it too.
yeah. And when COVID came along, we found that this was a really great way to do it. We have had people ask, do we do things in person? Not so much anymore because, quite honestly, there's 69 people here tonight, and I've never had that at a coffee house or a restaurant or anything like that. So we get a bigger reach this way. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's easier to reach people this way, and people are more ready to learn when they're sitting in their comfort of their own home, I think.
I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Was that
yeah,
good?
that's good.
All right, cool.
And my turn. I'm Janice Norton. I am actually a former student of Greg's many years ago, and I came in to work with the Fruit Tree program. My background is more of the sciences. I was into chemistry, biology, and such, and moving into the soil sciences that came along with Fruit Tree program was just perfect for me. So I got to learn a lot from Greg, and now I'm the general manager of the Urban Farm and the Urban Farm Fruit Tree Program. So
Yes.
come join us as we start the 2025 Fruit Tree Program.
This is year 26, by the way.
I know.
This is year 26, and that 500 fruit trees turned into over 80,000.
Okay. I have not been here that long.
I
I'm
know.
just I'm just a child. But
Yeah, there you
no,
go.
but it is a great, great program, and so many people have been with us for many years and share it with their friends. So if you have been introduced to the Fruit Tree program from somebody else who has been playing with us with our orchards and our fruit trees for a while, give them a big shout of thanks from us.
Cool.
All right. Greg,
Yes, Tucson is low desert.
so Greg, our first class, our
Hmm.
first most important question that we try to answer for people who are coming through our fruit tree program is, what do we know first?
Yeah.
So shall you take it away?
Yes, and the cool thing is that if you get trees from us, this is all covered because we only bring in fruit trees that work in the low desert. So this is what you need to know. Let's see here. There
All
we
right,
go.
I'll manage the chat and the questions, and you can focus on the class.
All right, farm out. Okay. What you need to know before you buy your fruit trees. Like I said, I planted my first fruit trees in 1975. If you do the math, that was 50 years ago. I planted my final fruit trees in Phoenix in 2022. And then I've started planting fruit trees on my farm here in Asheville, North Carolina. And I'm using the same techniques that we're going to talk about tonight, just not the same fruit trees, very different fruit trees. You can find all about our program at fruittrees.org. This is a picture of me in 1975. And to this day, I can't tell you why I was interested in planting fruit trees. It's just that was what I was supposed to be doing. In fact, around that same time, this is my 8th grade picture. Around that same time, I wrote a paper on how we were overfishing the oceans. Again, I have no reason, no idea, no anything about where that came from. It's just, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And the reason I love fruit trees so much is that you plant them once and you can harvest fruit for decades or even hundreds of years. There's a book called Oranges. It was written in 1967. John, I can't remember his last name. It's the history of citrus on the planet. And he found a fruit tree that was a citrus tree that was 479 years old in Europe. And I had 2 Arizona sweet oranges that were in the backyard at the urban farm in Phoenix, Arizona, that were planted in the 1920s. And when I left the property in 2022, they were still producing fruit 100 years later. So we can do this. We can absolutely do this. Now, the deciduous trees don't last as long, but citrus, man, they rock for lifespan. All right, why grow fruit trees? Well, my favorite thing to grow is a fruit tree. I talked about that. They're so incredibly abundant. This apple tree in the front yard at the urban farm lived there for 25 years. It had sweet potatoes growing underneath it. And this would give me about 150 to 200 pounds of apples every year. That is an amazing amount of apples. And I've said for years, the only place that lack lives is between our ears, because when I look at nature, seeds and fruit, and the abundance that comes from nature, leaves, there's no lack there. Also, once you start eating your homegrown fruit, especially peaches, man, I can't buy store-bought peaches and stone fruit anymore. I just can't do it. All right. This is one of the first things I want to touch base on is what is the true cost of a fruit tree? So you can go to some stores. My first peach tree that I bought in 1989, that I planted at the urban farm, came from Costco. It was $6.99, and it grew for 20 years on my property and never made a peach. I put soil, fertilizer, water, time, hope, and it never made a peach. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But there's a cost. If you know what you're getting into when it comes to a variety of a fruit tree, and you know it's going to produce, then you've got the hope. If you just did what I did in 1991 and bought a peach tree and hoped that it was going to make fruit, yeah, good luck with that. So, and I am not opposed to experimenting. Experiment all you want, as long as you know you're experimenting. That's how a lot of our varieties get discovered, is people are experimenting. The ghost apple a few years ago does a really good job in the low desert. It ripens early and it makes great apples. And so that was under an experiment, and we found out that it works. So experiment all you want, but if you don't want to experiment, just go with what works, which is what we have, is the fruit trees we bring in work in the low desert. All right. Why some trees don't produce while others are rock stars. We're going to talk about chill hours, rootstock, and ripening times. The first one, most nurseries know about. The second one, some nurseries know about. And the third one is something that I discovered about 10, 15 years ago. So let's just jump in. Chill hours. Chill hours are a certain amount of cold that the tree needs in order to set fruit. Generally speaking, a chill hour is anything under 39 degrees. And we get on average of about 300 to 350 hours of chill in Maricopa County and in Tucson as well. And so you need a fruit tree. Did you have something, Janice?
I did. For all of you who are outside of the low desert here in Phoenix, you can reach out to your local master gardeners and find out what the chill hours are in your area.
Yes. Or ask Google. Google sometimes knows as well. So we get about 350 hours of chill in the low desert. So you need to be planting a fruit tree that requires less than 350 hours of chill. And that should say it on the tag. It'll say for the deciduous trees, this does not count for citrus, for the deciduous trees, it'll say chill hours, 300, chill hours, 100, chill hours, 900. If you're looking at a tag in a store and it doesn't tell you how many chill hours on a deciduous trees, by the way, lose their leaves in the winter. So they're apples, apricots, plums, figs, pomegranates, peaches, apples. I think I said those again. Okay, cool. So the tag has to tell you how many chill hours it requires. Otherwise, don't buy it. I was in a big box store about 6, 7 years ago, and the tag on the tree, I kid you not, said peach. That was it. It said peach, nothing else. And there are literally hundreds of varieties of peaches, thousands of the varieties of apples. And in the low desert, we have 3 varieties of apples. We have about 10 varieties of peaches, 2 apricots, some plum blends and plums, for a total of about 25 low chill trees. So just know that. Chill hours. How many do we get in Maricopa County in the low desert? About 350 hours. If you're outside of that area, ask Google or your cooperative extension for how many chill hours you get in your area. And if the tag doesn't say chill hour, how many chill hours are required, don't buy the tree. All right. Next thing, rootstocks. Most fruit trees are grafted. You see down at the bottom of this picture, it says rootstock. There's a graft point, the scion or fruiting wood at the top with nodes. This happened to be an apricot, I believe, did quite well at the urban farm. This was probably a Katy apricot. And most fruit trees, what they do is they take a cutting from a known Katy apricot and they put it on a rootstock that'll do well in a particular area. Now there's rootstocks that do well in the desert. There's rootstocks that do well in the mountains. There's rootstocks that do well in tropical areas and dry areas. And so you need to make sure that you're getting your fruit tree on a rootstock that's going to do well in the desert. And again, all the trees that we bring in are appropriate for the low desert. And often what happens is there's a second tag. In fact, if you look right back here, that orange tag right there on the tree behind it, you can see, I've never noticed this before, you can see the white tag, which is the fruit variety. You can see the orange tag, which is the rootstock variety. And I believe orange is Nemagard for the low desert. So the second thing to look for on a fruit tree when you're buying it is the rootstock tag, and is it the appropriate rootstock for the desert area or the area that you live in. Now, what often happens is XYZ company, call it Home Depot or Walmart or one of those big box stores, they'll call a nursery and they'll order 5,000 Santa Rosa plums on XYZ rootstock. XYZ rootstock is not a rootstock. I made that up, but it's on that rootstock. And what they do is they ship that particular tree to all of their stores. And that rootstock is not going to do well in the low desert. That I can almost guarantee you. So make sure that you know your rootstocks, what works in your area. You can always ask one of the search engines or just get trees from us. And a lot of people are signed up here from Tucson. We actually get a lot of people that come up and get trees from us. And anyone out there that is interested in maybe doing a run to Tucson, picking up stuff, maybe I can coordinate with you with other people so you all come to the nursery at once. All right, rootstocks. Next thing is, and this is something that the nurseries don't know. They don't know it because they haven't experimented and planted so dang many trees like I have. I have planted thousands of trees personally in the low desert, and I have planted fall ripening soft flesh fruit. So stone fruits and apples. Will a Gala apple, I believe a Gala apple is a low chill apple, will it make fruit in the desert? Yes, but they ripen in the fall. And I found that what happens in the fall is that these fruit have to go all the way through the hottest part of the summer. And often they don't ripen, or some of them will ripen. And I think I remember somebody in Phoenix had a pink lady apple and a fall ripening apple, and she would get 3 to 5 pounds of fruit on it. Whereas my Anna and Dorset Golding were giving me 150 pounds of apples. You make that choice. Another one that I get a lot of requests for is persimmons. Again, a very soft flesh fruit. Again, ripen in the fall. And the few that I have seen successfully make fruit, there was one on my walk that I made every day near the urban farm. The one that I saw that successfully made fruit, it made maybe 5 or 10 fruit, and they were just sad. So ripening times is very important. Basically what this boils down to is soft flesh fruit, berries, grapes, stone fruit, apples. You want to plant a variety that ripens before July 1st. You want them ripen off the tree before July 1st. So that means May, really early to mid-May to end of June is when your harvest is going to come. And I used to have an opportunity to go on vacation in June occasionally, and I never went because I knew that's when my fruit was coming. And then climate appropriate trees, basically what we're talking about here, appropriate amount of chill hours, appropriate rootstock, will actually make fruit in our area. That's what I mean when I say climate appropriate trees. And that's all we carry, unless there is one caveat here. We do bring in some trees and plants that we call them experimental. If you get a blueberry from us, some people are very successful with blueberries, others are not. They're hard to grow in the desert. They need to be doted over a lot. We do bring some blueberries in, but just know that we don't guarantee them, and they're a hard one to grow. Other than that, if it doesn't say experimental in our shopping cart, we've proven these over the years, over the decades, and they do real well here. All right, urban orcharding. It's all about keeping our trees short. We want to keep them short because they're easier to manage and reach the fruit. You're able to plant more varieties in the same space. I'm going to talk about successive ripening here in a little bit. It extends your harvest. These are 2 peach trees that were in the front yard of my first orchard that I planted in 1999 in near 3rd Street, 3rd Avenue and Bethany Home in Phoenix. And you'll notice that the branches reach out. There's not one main one going straight up. I pruned it such the first year that it made branches that were like this. And we capped these trees at about 9-10 feet tall. Because the truth of the matter is, a mature peach tree can be 30 feet tall, can have a 20-foot canopy on it, 20-foot diameter canopy, and the fruit in an urban area, the fruit at the top of the tree is mostly bird food. In that same 30-foot diameter canopy, however big it is, you can plant 8 or 10 trees and keep them small and get successive ripening. So that's what urban orcharding is all about. Successive ripening, here's the slide. It brings you an extended ripening time, an expanded ripening time, an extended fruit harvest, and multiple varieties. So this is what it looks like in real time. The Desert Gold Peach, you plant it, it starts ripening around graduation day at Arizona State University, which is around the 12th or 13th of May. Interesting reference, eh? And it's on this tree for about 2 weeks or so. And then the Tropic Snow Peach, also the Swaze Swirl Peach is another variety that ripens in this same window. It ripens in early June. So 2 to 3 weeks later, you're getting Tropic Snow White Peaches. And then a couple weeks later, in late June, you get a Mid-Pride Peach, which is a freestone peach. It's a harder peach when it doesn't go as soft as the Desert Gold or the Tropic Snow, but it's nice and crisp and crunchy. And on Saturday, we have our big launch event, and Tom Spellman is going in depth on successive ripening. So make sure that you sign up for Saturday's launch event and come and join us. It's from 9 until noon, Arizona time on Saturday. So join us there for that. And Janis, can you put the link to sign up for that in the chat box?
Will do.
Thank you. All right. Growing methods for higher density. This is a hedgerow, a picture of a hedgerow that I planted at the urban farm in 2004. These trees were planted 2 feet apart. They're apples. And they did really great. They lived there for 14, 20, they lived there for almost 20 years. They were, interestingly enough, planted in the neighbor's yard. That fence there, that on the other side of that fence is my yard, and I convinced them to let me put a privacy hedge that would make apples there. It worked great. For this hedgerow, what I've discovered is that the best planting distance for hedgerows, that means you want a hedge, and I've made hedges out of dwarf black mulberries, out of apples, and out of citrus, out of peaches, out of plums. Generally, I like to put like plants together, so I put all citrus together in a hedge or all apples in a hedge. And so the planting distance is 4 to 5 feet from trunk to trunk. If you're getting closer than that, you're wasting your money, and farther apart, they're not going to grow together as a hedge. So that's hedgerows. They do really well in the desert. There's another concept called planting multiple trees in one hole, where you actually dig a triangle. The tree trunks are 18 inches apart. You point the trees pointed out a little bit on each corner of the triangle. And what happens with this one is that over time, the trees eventually grow up and it looks like one tree, but there's 3 varieties on it. It works really well. There's a document in Root Camp, which we're going to tell you about a little later, called Backyard Orchard Culture that goes in depth with multi putting multiple trees in one hole and backyard orchard culture. In fact, if you're interested in that document and you can't find it, shoot me an email, greg@urbanfarm.org, and I'll send that to you in the morning. I get this question a lot: multi-grafted trees, where you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 varieties on one rootstock. The problem with those, generally speaking, in the low desert is that not all of the varieties are low chill enough to make fruit. I would often see apples with an Anna on it and 2 other different varieties, and the 2 other varieties were the wrong varieties for the low desert. So you have to be really careful about that. And the other thing about multi-grafted trees is they're usually super, super expensive. And usually for the price of 3 trees through us, that's what you're going to spend for one multi-grafted tree elsewhere. So just be careful with that. Planting distance, if you want to be able to walk between your trees, like in an orchard setting, 10 to 12 feet from trunk to trunk is best. You can go farther if you want, if you have that much space. And strategic placement, that was the different varieties. You want to plant the trees strategically in rows so that it works for you. All right. Other things to know about fruit tree success. Fruiting versus ornamentals. I had about 20 years ago, I had one of my neighbors come to me and they said, Greg, we went to such and such nursery and we bought a pomegranate and such nursery. If I said the name of that nursery in Phoenix, y'all would know who it is. They should know better. They sold them an ornamental pomegranate as a fruiting pomegranate. So make sure that you're getting a fruiting tree, not an ornamental tree. They make all kinds of ornamentals. There's a concept in fruit trees called self-fruitful versus non-self-fruitful. Self-fruitful trees, you plant an Anna apple in your backyard and the bees come along and do what they do, and you don't need another apple anywhere close in order to get fruit. That is what self-fruitful is. Most of our trees that we sell are self-fruitful. Some of them are not. They're marked in our shopping cart. Non-self-fruitful trees are trees that require a cross-pollinator. We have 2 or 3 in our shopping cart that require a cross-pollinator, and they're marked. If you have any questions about that, you just shoot an email to fruittree@urbanfarm.org and say, hey, what's up with this? And while I'm on this topic, this is what I do full time. This is my full-time job these days, is talking to people about fruit trees. So any questions that you have about a fruit tree, if you want to snap a picture of it, send it to me, you can. I'm here to help. This is what I do full time. So know I'm here to help. Best time to plant a citrus is in October. Middle to end is best when it starts cooling down. And best time to plant deciduous and mesquite trees is in January. Hence the reason we bring them in at the pop-up nursery at that particular time. I'm going to tell you in a little while how our nursery works. We're not a standard nursery that you can go to every day. And the best way to plant, we're going to cover this in depth in our planting, watering, and fertilizing class coming up, I think in 2 weeks. Yeah, next week's class is 3 ways to kill your fruit trees. You definitely want to see that, because I still get emails and see posts on Facebook with people doing exactly what I tell them not to do. And then planting, watering, and fertilizing is, I think, 2 weeks from tonight. And basically what it is in a nutshell, you want to dig a square hole, 2 foot by 2 foot by 1 foot deep. You want to do a perk test on the hole, which you fill the hole with water and see how long it takes to drain. If it's still got water in it, standing in it 24 hours later, you email us at fruittree@urbanfarm.org and say, hey, what do I do about this? And then my 6-6 rule, 6-foot diameter basin, 6 inches of woody mulch at minimum. And we're going to talk in depth about that in the planting, watering, and fertilizing class. That is it in a nutshell. All right. So how to know you're getting your trees worth, your money's worth in your trees. Janis and I did a survey 2 years ago, and we called every nursery in the greater Phoenix metropolitan area, every nursery we could get a hold of, asked them how much their trees were. And what we found was astonishing. It was gobsmacking. It was flabbergasting how much they were selling their trees for. What we found was that the average cost of a potted 15-gallon tree, that's the one on my right there, just to the left of me, the average cost of a deciduous 15-gallon tree was $177. I think the citrus were a little bit more, which kind of blew me away. And the thing you really have to take into consideration when you're buying a fruit tree is not the height. They can have a spindly tree that's 4 or 5 feet tall in a 5-gallon or 15-gallon pot and tell you it's a 15-gallon tree when it's actually a 5-gallon tree. So what you're looking for is the trunk diameter. The trunk diameter is what is most important. You can see the tree all the way on the left. That is a 5-gallon citrus. The trunk diameter on it is about a 1/2 inch. The trunk diameter on a 15-gallon tree, and I'm talking trunk diameter about 6 inches above the ground, right at the graft point. The trunk diameter on a 15-gallon tree should be anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches. So if you walk into a nursery and they have a tree that looks like the one on the left and a 15-gallon tree, it's actually a 5-gallon tree, guys. Trust me, I've been in this business too long. I know what nurseries do. So just know that. Don't trust the pot size. And my first online tree purchase, I bought back in 1991 from, I think it was Stark Brothers. I bought a $59 Asian pear. By the way, we don't sell Asian pears because they don't do well in the low desert. I bought a $59 Asian pear tree. When it arrived, it was the size of a pencil. I kid you not. It was the diameter of a pencil. It was about 18 inches tall. And so make sure that you know that you're getting your trees worth. And there's a few pieces. If you have any questions, guess what? Email me. All right. Coming down the home stretch here, kids. Taking ownership of a tree is not just about paying for the tree. This is a living plant and it needs ongoing care. If you're fertilizing your tree one, two, or three times a year, it's not getting enough fertilizer, guys. Especially with our extreme heat, it's not getting enough fertilizer. So I've been telling people this for years. For the best success, expect to spend as much on supplements and soil as you do on the tree. Now, the good news from us is all of our fruit trees right now, most of the deciduous trees and the 5-gallon citrus trees are in the $69 price range, $69, $70, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. The 15-gallon citrus trees are a little bit more than that. And so for the price that you would pay elsewhere for a tree, you get the tree and all the supplements and free education on how to make sure that it thrives in the desert. All right, here's how our Urban Farm Fruit Tree program works. First of all, this is my 26th year of educating people on the fruit tree program. I recently had somebody send me a photograph of a piece of of an email that she printed out in 2006. She said, Greg, I thought you would like to see this. It was an email invitation to my class at Unlimited Coffee at 9th Street in Camelback. It was so cool. I still have it. I still have it. That's so cool. So I have been all about education, education, education since I started this. This is why it started. And all the fruit tree education is free. Now, if you'd like to make a donation, we gladly accept the donations. Janice will drop a link for a donation if you'd like to make it in the Q&A or in the chat box if you're interested. But really what we're after is come and get your fruit trees from us. They're climate appropriate, they're season appropriate, we know how to grow them. So get your trees from us. That's really why we do this, the education for free. Then you pre-order your trees. Janice, I put the hyphen in the wrong place on pop-up, on our pop-up nursery. You order your fruit trees now. For citrus, you're going to pick up your fruit trees this year, the last weekend of September, the first weekend of October, and the deciduous trees come in the second half of January. The way our pop-up nursery works, we're only there 5-6 weekends a year, and then we open up 2 times at our pop-up nursery for supplies, usually once in March and once in April for fertilizer and that kind of stuff. We also have a pickup location in Mesa and a pickup location in Glendale, where if you want fertilizer or some of the smaller package stuff, you can get that picked up that way. This is a big part of how we keep our fruit tree prices as low as we do. We're not a full-time nursery. I don't have to pay for a full-time space for our nursery. So yeah, there you have it. That's how our program works. Come to our free classes. Also, fruittreechat.org. You can sign up for our monthly free fruit tree chat. Janice and I do it every month except January, where we come together, we answer your questions, and usually bring a topic on what we're doing this. Here's what you do with your fruit trees this month. All right, what we supply. This happens to be a picture of our fruit tree lot when it's up and ready to go. We supply trees and plants. We supply stone fruit, peaches, apples, apricots, plums, pomegranates, figs, berries, grapes, all kinds of great stuff. We supply organic fertilizers, by the way. Our organic fertilizers and our soil products come from Tucson and Goodyear. So they're locally made products. We have soil supplements, irrigation supplies, and lots of help. When we're open on the lot, Ray is on the lot normally, and he's our general store guru, and you can talk to him, Catherine, Jordan, Tammy, Chris. We have all a crew that comes together once a year, twice a year. Oh, and hello. Of course, Janis. You can come together at our pop-up nursery, which, by the way, is near 7th Street and Camelback. And we just open it up and just come on down and join us. I usually come in January, so you'll see me in January. You'll also see me at the Great American Seed Up in November. And if you don't know what that is, Janice will drop a link for the Great American Seed Up in the chat box. All right. One of the things that I started doing about 15 years ago is helping you with your yard planning. I call it a Farmer Greg's consult. You can get them urbanfarm.org/consults. I had somebody that got one with me about 8 years ago, and they're $120, lasts an hour. We do them virtually. You send me your address and pictures of your farm or pictures of your yard, front and back, and when we got done with the garden consult, she said, "Oh my gosh, I so appreciate this help. I wish that I would have done this before I blew $1,000 on fruit trees that died." So there you go. You can get them. I do them weekly. You just go to urbanfarm.org/consults to find out more, and you can jump on a call with me. Our fruit trees are low desert proven fruit trees, and you can find them at urbanfarm.org/store. We're in our early bird season right now. The early bird season has the best pricing, the best selection. We do run out of varieties. I think we're down to 2 pomegranates, and the mulberries we're running low on, and so we're already running low on stuff. By you placing your order, it helps us plan and gets us the best pricing. The early bird season for bundles and for individual tree prices. So the early bird season includes bundles like the peach bundle, the apple bundle, apricot bundle, and the plum bundle, and a bunch of different citrus bundles. The bundle pricing is the best pricing of all. You're buying 2 or 3 fruit trees at once. If you can take 3 trees or 2 trees, that's going to be your best price. Second best pricing is individual trees. The bundle pricing and early bird pricing for citrus expires this Saturday, and for deciduous expires on October 31st. All right. Our deciduous program, it's been live since 1999. That first year, I was wanting 50 trees. I had to buy 100 because Dave Wilson Nursery would only sell me 100 trees as a minimum order. And so I ordered 100 trees. I planted 50 in my friend Lynn's front and backyards, and I potted 50. And pretty soon after that, my friends started saying, "Well, how do I get fruit trees? How do I grow fruit trees?" So it was the prompting of my friends saying, "How do I grow fruit trees in the desert?" that started this whole thing. Pop-up again is in January for that. And our citrus program has been live since 2004. Our pop-up nursery is in late September for that, 2 weekends. And we do have citrus bundles and as well. All right, your next steps. Take our other classes. Janis will put a link in the chat box with a link to sign up for all 6 of our classes for the season, including this Saturday. We have an amazing free master class on growing fruit trees. I would say on growing fruit trees in the desert, but what I've discovered is growing fruit trees. All of the things that I teach work in cooler climates as well. And you can go to urbanfarm.org/root camp and sign up for that. You can place your pre-order. Remember, our bundle pricing and early bird pricing ends on this Saturday for citrus. So if you want your citrus order in, get it in soon. And you can do that at urbanfarm.org/store. And our main landing page is fruittrees.org. Here's our ultimate goal. Top left picture from one of our clients. They bought fruit trees from us, and a couple years later, 3 years later, they sent me this picture and they said, "Oh my gosh, Greg, look what I got. A bucket of peaches. Love it." The bottom picture was on the countertop at the Urban Farm, maybe 6 or 7 years ago. Those peaches are mid-pride peaches and Anna apples. I know that because the Anna apples ripen in late June. You'll take note that the peaches aren't as big as they could be. I'm not necessarily a fan of thinning fruit. Unless it's going to break the tree, I usually just I shake the tree a few times to shake some of the fruit off, and then I just let this fruit set because a peach that size tastes every bit as good as a peach this size. So there you have it. And I'm sure we have questions, Miss Janice, yes?
Yes, we do. I'm running around finding links for you because you threw them at me without. All
Thank you,
right,
thank you.
Cheryl wants, how do you know when to harvest? Limes are green all the time.
Yep, you got to pull one and try it. That's the case for every fruit out there. You pull one and try it.
Yeah.
And hold on one sec, Janice. And the other thing is when are they typically ripe in your area? So you can actually eat a navel orange when it's green, but they start turning orange at the end of November in Phoenix. Yes, Janice.
I was going to say, different varieties have different ripening times and
Exactly.
in the different areas. So, a little Google can tell you what that variety is like.
Yeah.
And there's a range, especially with citrus. Some citrus can get ripe on the tree and then stay ripe on the tree for a while.
Yeah.
So that was
Ah,
kind of a covering a lot of different citrus, not just limes.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, we can have 2 to 3 months fruit on a tree.
Yeah. All right. Travis says, is arid climate the same as low desert?
Uh,
Excellent question and a great thing to clarify.
yeah, good question. Where are you at, Travis?
Well,
Um,
while he's working on that, an arid climate is a climate that does not have a high moisture content. So
ah,
that is very much a desert type content. But
yes,
you can have high desert and you can have low desert, and both of them can be arid. So
yes.
no, they're not the same. But it's a good question. You're going to want to know key elements. Greg talked about
Chill
uh,
hours,
chill
rootstock,
hours.
ripening time,
Yeah, chill hours are going to be the big thing on that.
the big thing. Yeah.
And you
Make
can
us,
also look at elevation because that will change what your chill hours are, even if you're in the same area. So somebody who's lives near me, but is just far enough to be, 1,000 foot higher, they're going to have a much different result.
yeah. Make us both the same size, would you, Janice?
Oh, what? Fine, be that way. There we
Um,
go.
all right, cool.
Jeffrey was talking about the pruning on the perfect peach out front. He wanted
Perfect
to know
peach
a
or
little bit.
apple tree? Yeah, either one.
You're pruning, yeah.
So the perfectly pruned peach, the peach tree that you saw, what I did is I actually cut it down to 10 inches and I let it bush out. So when I planted it, and there's a video on my YouTube channel about how I did this, I cut it down to 10 inches above the graft point, and it prompted the trunk of the tree to sprout multiple branches, and it made it a bush rather than a tree.
Yeah.
So
Which helped keep all of the fruit down low where you could reach it.
exactly.
Yeah. And Jeffrey also asks, what would the lifespan be on a multi-tree in one space? So I want to clarify what Greg was talking about earlier was putting 3 trees in one space. So Greg, what would the lifespan be on that?
It's less about how many are in the space and more about where you're at. What I found in Phoenix, low desert, was that the citrus trees, I had 100-year-old citrus trees in my backyard that were still producing gobs of fruit, amazing amount of fruit. What I found on the deciduous trees, apples and stone fruit, um, 20 to 25 years is about the max on them.
So
The more you fertilize them, the better you fertilize them, the more you uptick your fertilizing and feeding them, the longer they're going to live. But 20 to 25 years,
and if you put 3 trees in one hole, does that impact their lifespan?
mm-mm,
No.
doesn't.
If you're putting 3 different trees in one hole, they're going to want to make similar trees. Otherwise, one will overshadow the others. But if you're putting 3 plums in one tree or in one space or 3 peaches, you're going to have very similar results. Um,
It's a pruning thing in that
it's a
case.
fruiting thing, but if you put a multi-grafted tree, that will might affect the lifespan because the trees are going to be having, there's a whole nother class on that one. This is
Yeah.
not what we're talking about, but the multi-tree in one space.
Oh my gosh. Drew wants to know, do we have a recommendation on fertilizer? To yes, and over and over and over again. We have very specifics. Please come to our planting, watering, and fertilizing class. And then we have another class called up leveling your fruit tree care. But organic fertilizer for sure, 4 times a year on the granular, uh, Valentine's Day, Tax Day, Memorial Day, and Labor Day is something to remember by. That's on the granular. But if you're only doing granular, you're not fertilizing them enough. We have to go with a liquid fertilizer, with a liquid drench, and a foliar feed, especially in our amazing heat.
Right. I'm going to jump back to the multiple trees in one hole. Carrie asks again if they need to be the same type. Let's make sure they don't have to be the same variety, but they do have to be compatible trees. So would you mix an apple and a stone fruit in one hole, Greg?
Probably not.
No, probably not, because they're going to
I
have
mean,
different needs.
yeah, I mean, you can, and it would be a bit of an experiment, but if you're doing multiple trees in one hole, um,
I'd want to go
like,
something a little closer,
yeah,
like
so
different
plum,
apples,
yeah, 2 different apples, 3 different apples,
different
plums, apricots,
apricots.
any stone fruits together, they generally have the same
Yeah.
type of fruit stock on them.
But even there, apricots need a totally different pruning cycle than the plums and the peaches do. So the more compatible and the more similar that you can get, the better you're going to be, the happier you're going to be with the results.
Yeah,
And Jeffrey says he was wondering about the trunks coming into contact on that. This is a little bit more specific for the 3 trees. The trunks coming into contact, what you're going to be doing is you're probably going to be planting them out about 18 inches from each other,
yep.
and that'll give them some room, and we'll just end up having 3 trunks right next to each other. Um,
And some
that
of
won't
the,
really big deal.
yeah, and in our document, you're coached to kind of prune the cross limbs out of the middle. And there's actually something that happens with with like kind of trees called pleaching, where they rub together and they become one. So,
They
you know,
start share, they become sisters.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
there you go.
All right.
Um,
Um, Keith asks, are peach trees sensitive to the heat of Phoenix summers? We
oh,
lost
yes.
one this year, but the other is doing fine, and we put a sunshade over both of them.
Yeah. So please come to our next week's class. I
Saturday.
Oh, and Saturday too, for sure.
Yeah.
We have Tom Spellman. Tom Spellman, I've known him for 25 years, and he's the guy that knows more about fruit trees than anybody I know. He's been in the nursery business for over 50 years, and he's talking about um, taking heat in our fruit trees. So
Heat mitigation, right?
yes, yes, they are extremely sensitive to heat. And we have a whole strategy, Keith, for shading the tree, shading the ground, making sure your trees thrive, even in a gravel yard. We have a strategy for that.
And we're bringing in some really good products and that we're going to talk about with over the next couple of classes. We got
Yeah.
time for maybe one more question before we pop off, or okay, 2 quick ones. Christine says, "Do you sell seeds?" Great American
Yes.
Seed Up, go for it. We are both part of that, so that's
Yeah.
good. And we're going to ask one more question. In the Q&A was, can fruit trees be planted with other bushes?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the
that's got to
seventh.
do with,
Go
go
ahead. I'm
ahead.
sorry. No,
No.
please. I interrupted you.
We love each other. Can you tell? Um, Fruit trees and bushes can be planted together because you're going to be creating guilds, but take note of the watering.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that the watering is adjusted because bushes need shallower watering than fruit trees, which need much deeper. Planting, watering, and fertilizing, we go over that a little bit more in depth.
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody for coming tonight.
Oh
Greg,
man, we can't
I
take in a couple
love.
more questions.
No, we gotta cut it short because we do have a commitment
Yeah.
and we do have several more classes that we can go into more on this.
Yeah.
Um,
If you have questions, shoot me an email, greg@urbanfarm.org.
yes, and we do have great classes coming up. Thank you all for showing up. You will be getting some more information in your email. Please, please, please tell a friend. We are
Yes.
committed to transforming our desert and increasing the food resilience of our neighborhoods. So please join us. We love what we're doing and we love y'all for being here.
Yes. Thank you.
All righty.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you on Saturday for the launch, and next Monday. I think it's next Monday or
It's
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Tonight,
Tuesday.
this week we did Monday, but we're doing
All right.
Tuesday
Cool.
classes. It's in the emails
All right. Cool. Bye, guys.
usually. Bye bye.
Thank you.